are live. Welcome to the Rotoworld Fantasy Baseball Q&A, brought to you by Rotoworld Player News. I'm Eric Samulski. He's James Schiano. We're still here. We're grinding through the summer months with you. It is the end of August. This is the last one in August, and then we've got 4 more to go. September months. 2 p.m. today. It might be 2 p.m. in the weeks ahead. We will let you know, obviously, as fantasy football season kicks in. We have fantasy football content over here at Rotoworld. So there's the Matthew Berry Show, there's fantasy football Q&A, and there's fantasy baseball Q&A. So it all might be part of one long Monday little endeavor for you. You can hang out on the YouTube channel for a long time. You can always hit me up on Twitter at SamskiNYC. Hit James up on Twitter at James_Schiano. We are both on Blue Sky as well. We'll answer all your questions there. James, how's the weekend? Good?
Weekend was great. Beautiful weekend in New York City.
Yeah.
It's actually won a series. It was just a very, very nice time.
Great. I'm glad to hear it. Our first question is actually about the Mets. It's not really a question, but I'm posing it to you as a question. Because Jeddah said breaking Jonah Tong could start Friday versus the Marlins. You are obviously as plugged in on Met stuff as anybody. Is this actually, breaking he could is an interesting, yes, I guess he could. Do you think this is breaking? It's likely, or just now his name is in the mix?
I think that the fact that he's walked into AAA and just destroyed people means it's actually more possible than we thought it could be. There was a great article by Matt Eddy of Baseball America this morning that him and I actually talked about a lot about the differences between Jonah Tong needing to be added to the 40-man roster this year compared to next year. It's because he has a late birthday as a 19-year-old draftee. So the Mets basically got lucky to not have to add Jonah Tong to the 40-man roster for a full extra year. But he's so good now he's challenging that. And there's a very important date next week, September 1st. Players have to be added to the 40-man roster September 1st to be eligible for the postseason. Jonah Tong last pitched on Saturday, so he would line up to pitch on Friday. The Mets right now are playing 16 games in 16 days, and they're kind of cycling through their 5 starters in a way that maybe they're possibly all not comfortable with. Kodai Sang is going to pitch for the first time on regular rest in almost 2 full years tonight against the Phillies. That don't know how that's going to go, but I also think Jeddah is pulling specifically from an article Tim Britton just wrote his weekly preview / recap for the Mets on The Athletic today, when he said, since I report the Mets hope to get September before bringing in a 6th starter, they've placed Frankie Montas on the injured list and had Brandon Sproat pitch as a bulk guy in AAA. The first points to New York adding a 6th starter before September 1st, and the latter suggests Jonah Tong could be the guy ahead of Sproat. Tyler McGill is still an option. He pitched Friday for Syracuse as well. So I do think that and he also continues to say slotting in that pitcher Friday just gives everyone the extra day next week to prevent consecutive starts on regular rest, which this will be Holmes, Peterson, Sanger. They're all going to pitch this week on Peterson yesterday on their 5th day. But I think they want to extend one time this week to let everyone get that 6th day. So it could definitely be Tong or more likely be McGill.
Yeah. The McGill thing is
he's crushing the rehab assignment right now.
I know. And he's been good for them.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sproat got hit around in that bulk rehab start, or not rehab, bulk relief start. It's interesting. So Tim Healy, who used to cover the Mets for Newsday and now covers the Red Sox, had a good tweet today kind of comparing the Red Sox situation with Jonah Tong to the Mets situation with Jonah Tong to the Red Sox situation with Peyton Toll, where both those guys have crushed the minors, both got called up to AAA, both have dominated AAA, and you're like, okay, we weren't thinking we were going to do this, but maybe we should do this. And the Red Sox is like, Walker Buehler's in the bullpen, like the Mets moved Frankie Montas to the bullpen. Today, the Red Sox are going to start Brendan Bernardino against the Orioles because he's a lefty, and the Orioles get Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson up in the 1st inning, and then they're going to Richard Fitz in bulk relief. So Fitz could be the 5th starter, Kyle Harrison, but maybe Peyton Toll's actually pitching better in AAA than Kyle Harrison. So it's kind of that similar situation of these top prospects are pushing the possibility of getting up here.
Yeah, it's literally the forcing of the hand. I think the PPI eligibility draft picks plays into this a bit because you want, especially teams like the Mets more so, but the Red Sox as well, you're going to be getting a lot of penalties for being in the luxury tax. The Mets have gotten their draft pick pushed back for 2 years now. Next year is going to be the 3rd time it happens. So but the possibility of getting an extra compensatory pick if this player, while they're are still before they're arbitration eligible, either places for rookie, I think wins Rookie of the Year, or places for an MVP or Cy Young. That's really relevant. So getting their feet wet earlier, and then there's also the function of how many bullets do you want to waste with these guys. There's no doubt for either of these teams that these two pitchers are one of the 13 best pitchers in your organization. So if you want to compete for the playoffs, the Mets, the Red Sox, Mets more so the Red Sox, it's been a real struggle to starting pitching. You have to try and piece this together any way you can. I really wonder if these teams pull from what the Tigers did last year and be like the Red Sox could do that easily because Garrett Crochet could be the screwball that ties the whole thing together. And then you can kind of just have, and Giolito's still a very good starter. Bayo seems to be turning a corner as well. But then to get creative with a couple of other guys to fill in the other days, I think it'd be really beneficial for both of these teams right now.
Yeah, and once you get to the postseason, you can shorten that rotation and get creative. You just have to get there. The rosters don't expand as much in September as they used to, but you can use that to your advantage and get some extra bullpen arm up and try to manage some of the stress on some of the starters. And so we'll see how that plays out. Points league question from Dylan here. You are the points league guy, 14-team weekly points league.
Nice.
Playoff matchup, 6 starting pitcher slots. He has his 3 locked in. So this is 3 starting pitcher slots. Yusei Kikuchi at Texas. Yu Darvish at Seattle. It says Woo Sale at Philly.
Yu Darvish at Seattle versus Woo. So I think he's worried about getting a win.
Woo. Okay, right. Sale at Philly versus Sanchez. Merrill Kelly at the Athletics. And then Brandon Pfaadt double dip at Milwaukee and LA.
I always lean to the double dip because of the double dip. I know that the Brewers are scary, but still objectively speaking, I don't think the Brewers are as scary as an offense as their record makes them out to be. You just kind of have to go for the double dip in that case. What's happened with Sale? Have you been plugged into the rehab starts?
I was plugged into the first one and then obviously was out last week. But everything in the first one looked good. The thing for me was just like, I just didn't understand why there wasn't a rush. It's funny. The last one I know, Weatherholt went 2 for 2 off of him.
Nice.
But that was 2 days ago on the 23rd. And I'm trying to get a pitch count on that because it says that he's going to be activated.
Yeah, I have.
Fractured rib cage though. I don't know, man.
I have Sale with 18 total batters faced in that last rehab start. So I think you'll be lucky to probably get 5 innings from Sale.
There we go. 4.2 innings of 1-run balls, 77 pitches, 51 strikes.
Okay.
So you're looking at like mid 80s pitches. But
it's hard
for all intents and purposes seemed healthy.
Yeah, it's hard.
Velo seemed good.
It's hard to not start Chris Sale. I know we always say that we're hesitant to start pitchers to first start off the injured list, but when it's Chris Sale, sometimes you throw those rules out the window. If this was me, and I wouldn't feel really great about these, but I'd probably do Pfaadt, Sale, Darvish, or Kelly.
Darvish has looked good, and at Seattle is a good spot for a pitcher. I think I would put Darvish in there.
I know. I think I'm getting really nervous now this time of year. The games in Sacramento, we've seen some major blowups happen the last few weeks out there. Jacob Lopez tanked some fantasy baseball seasons yesterday specifically. I think that was that game even home, but I just think that that's a nerve-wracking place to be pitching guys right now.
Yeah, I can't do that one. That
was on the road anyway, so never mind. But it's still worrisome.
And now he's probably hurt. So what are you gonna do? James Wood looks completely lost at the plate. I know the Nats have nothing to lose by letting him work his way out of it, but it sure makes it tough to keep him in my lineup. Any signs he's adjusting? Well, first of all, I would say he hasn't looked as bad of late. Hitting 260 over the last 2 weeks. Listen, 1 homer, 7 runs scored, 6 RBIs is not great. The team context isn't ideal in terms of counting stats, but hitting 260 over his last 11 games is not really terrible. We know that he's incredibly talented. We know that pitchers are adjusting how they're throwing to him and they're spamming him with breaking balls. And I don't know who you have on your team that could possibly be better than James Wood. If you're in a 10-team league and, you were able to scoop Michael Harris off waivers when somebody dropped him or scoop Bretton Doyle off waivers when somebody dropped him or whatever, and you have a plethora of options and you want to bench James Wood, I could see it, but I would need to be in a real shallow league where I have tons of guys who are in the top 40 over the last 2 weeks or whatever, and I'm riding a really hot bat, not just going to throw a Lawrence Butler in there over James Wood.
Yeah, these are the kinds of decisions, micro decisions that really make the 10-team leagues crazy this time of year, because like there is a world where like you might have to not play James Wood because just everyone has such good teams that it's very difficult to miss that. And James Wood right now, something's happening. It's happened to a lot of young players. The minor league seasons are just shorter than the major league seasons.
Yeah.
He's now matched his career high games played in the season when combining all levels. Or I think he's 1 game shy of it from 2 years ago or last year. It's just, and also like the eye test. I watched every game they played against the Mets last week. It just does look not as like feverish and like, you know, he's lost a little bit of that step, that spark. Like you're like, oh, he's young, he should have the most energy in the world. But this is just the most games he's played. And with this happening with James Wood, we're getting a rolling season low of his fly ball rate, a rolling season high of his O swing. Like those are just the things that with a player like James Wood, who struggled with those two things a bit at times in the past, losing some of the energy, being tired, like it just seems like it's. But also all this to say that he can still get blazing hot in 1 second and then go on a run.
Yeah. It's funny when you look at like the fact that Nate Lowe has hit the ground running with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, some guys just get beaten down by being on a team that's not competitive. And more so probably veterans. But yeah, it's tough at the end of a long, grueling season. I would keep him in there. I'm not worried too much about it. We got a couple questions about Randy Rodriguez. Fantasy Sports says drop him for arm soreness for Jose A. Ferrer, who's the closer for the Nationals, or Will Vest. I'm dropping him for Will Vest. Ferrer is probably more of like the full-time closer, whereas Vest is part of a closer committee. Yeah. But Vest is very clearly on a better team. He has 3 saves in the last 2 weeks, so he's still getting save opportunities. And I would drop Randy Rodriguez because he hasn't been particularly good of late, and now we know he's dealing with arm soreness, and the Giants aren't playing for anything. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they would be rushing him back. I think they're going to be cautious with him. So I would certainly make that swap.
Yeah, this Randy Rodriguez is one of those annoying transactions. You can just kind of feel that he's going to be on the injured list like today or tomorrow around 5 p.m. And then it's just we have to go through waivers this weekend without being able to access that. Ferrer is someone that I loved heading into the season, and he was so lost through April, May, and June. But something has clicked recently. I don't know if it's mechanical, but all of the command issues that plagued him early in the season when he couldn't really even hold down like the 7th inning role in this Nationals bullpen, they've all snapped back, and he's now a lefty that throws in the upper 90s that looks completely disgusting game in and game out. So if there are a few save opportunities, at least you know you're getting them. But I'm sure him and Vest, if I had to say who gets more, it feels like it's like a save or 2 difference rest of season.
Yeah, I like Ferrer too. Like I would be adding him in most places. I just put him slightly behind. Dylan has the same question in a points league format about Randy Rodriguez has other options there. JJ Romero, Riley O'Brien, Victor Vodnik, Sean Armstrong, Ryan Walker. Right now, just my 2 cents on the situations. JJ Romero and Riley O'Brien seem to be in a committee in St. Louis. They are, Romero's the only lefty in the bullpen. So even though he might be the favorite for saves, if they need him to get tough lefties out, he's going to get tough lefties out. Vodnik is pitched for the Rockies, so you always have that. Armstrong is in Texas. That's a messy situation. I don't really know if he's the closer, but Maton hasn't been good. Garcia hasn't been good. Who really knows? And then Ryan Walker, if we think Randy Rodriguez is going on the IL, it's probably Ryan Walker. But if he doesn't go on the IL, where do you go from there? I think Ryan Walker is the easy swap here, but I don't know where you land.
I probably would still lean Romero. Romero, while he is, there's also, they activated John King, so there's another lefty in that bullpen now, but it's not the greatest lefty in the world. Romero gets the tough lefty assignment still, but he's been getting those saves. And I don't know, we've tried Walker before. Like I don't know how good of a relief pitcher he even is at this point. Like I think objectively I might like the other guys even just more than him. So it's like, it's especially when we're still not sure. If you get that Randy Rodriguez IL designation, then that's it. Signed, sealed, delivered. But until then, I probably lean Romero from this list.
Yeah, I like that. I like Romero the best in terms of like his overall talent and role.
He's good.
And so I would I'm fine with that, putting Romero first. Yeah. We have more points league questions for you.
Big points league.
Redraft points head to head. Austin Riley's hurt. You adding Vientos? You adding Royce Lewis or Beatty?
I think right now you got 3 good options there, technically. I know Royce Lewis, there's been some weird things with comments and feelings and what's going on in the Twins world right now. It just seems like a mess of a fan base and a franchise. But he's starting to hit again. He's one of those guys that's like, you want to talk about lightning in a bottle, guys like Royce Lewis has that in his back pocket. But Beatty and Vientos, Beatty especially, like he just plays every single day now, whether it's second or third. He's working on over 80 games where he has an 800 OPS on a 30 homer, 10 steal pace. Like I think that he's been one of the more unheralded, unsung, massive breakouts of this fantasy baseball season. Whereas Vientos, like you just saw a 5-game stretch where he hit everything. But there always is the downside with Vientos because of how bad his glove is, where he just doesn't play. And a week ago, he didn't start for like 5-6 straight games. And then Ron Mauricio played worse. He stepped back in for there. So, and yet the Mets have Jeff McNeil's dealing with an injury right now. So they've been trying to hide him in the field a little bit. Starling Marte played the outfield yesterday. So I think the Mets are just trying to spark the lineup as best they can. I just think that Vientos' playing time floor is still like 2 bad games away from you might get 2 sits in a row. If you get 2 sits in a row in a head-to-head points league, you kind of blew your week. So I think Beatty is the safest guy.
And Beatty's been good too. Like Beatty has had a very good second half. And I think we're quick to write off guys who repeatedly struggle and shot in chances at the big leagues, and I understand that. But he's not relatively old, and he was a prospect of some note. He might not have been a top 10 prospect, but he was a top prospect, and it just maybe took him a while to figure it out.
Yeah, you have someone who lifts the ball, who pulls the ball, who has some great bat speed, who plays great defense. It's just like Brett Beatty's very obviously a guy that a team's going to do what they can and get him in the lineup every day. And again, we're like 80 straight games with an 800 OPS. Like it's a guy's playing good baseball. And he steals some bases because the Mets just can steal bases whenever they want. So that's kind of a tiny little bonus from this trio that Brett Beatty can give you like 3 more steals the rest of the year. Head-to-head points league, so it doesn't matter as much, but still.
Hold on to Cam Schlittler and Cade Horton, or drop any for Jonah Tong if he's called up. It's hard to drop those guys. It's hard to drop those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are
good. The favorite for rookie of the year.
I could see you dropping Horton if you like had a real strikeout need, because he's not like a real strikeout guy. And I get if you want to chase the strikeout upside with Tong, but like, I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Tong feels like somebody who could be like a 5 and dive for the Mets. Like they don't really want to have to extend his innings if they don't have to. Schlittler has looked really good in his last 2 starts. His schedule looks pretty favorable coming up. Like, awesome. I don't know, man. I don't know that I could drop those guys.
I don't know either, but this is a situation where if Tong does get called up, you want to do everything you can to get him on your team, because while he could be a 5 and dive guy, he could be 5 with 8 strikeouts. You know what I mean? He can get like, we kind of thought that about Nolan McClain when he came up. He just threw 7 innings because he figured out a way to pitch to contact. Like this.
Let me ask you, if you have Nolan McClain on your team and Jonah Tong comes up, what are you doing?
You can't drop. You have 2 good starts against 2 pretty good major league lineups for Nolan McClain right now. And the third one, Philly on Wednesday, is going to be a crazy game too for where the people are feeling about Nolan McClain in Mets world. But he's awesome. Like this is just, and we know how good of a Park City field is to pitch, and we know how good the Mets defense is behind these guys. Like it's just, there has to be a third option here, Skywalker, to try and get Jonah Tong on the roster, besides for these 2 other really exciting young pitchers, like the National League Rookie of the Year and one of the most exciting rookie pitchers in the American League. Like, gotta find a third option.
Yeah, hit us up in the comments. Let us know if there is another option. We could try to give you one. More points league, man. TM wants to know better option on the bench: Lawrence Butler or Samuel Basallo in head-to-head points league.
It's Basallo. It doesn't matter. Like I had someone did the tweet today of like every single ball that he's put in play as a major leaguer so far, because he hasn't hit a home run yet, and he hasn't had like one of the crazy high max exit velocities because it's 160 in the minors, but every single ball in play is like 108, 105, 105, 105, 1. It's like he just he's guy puts the barrel on the ball. He's so impressive. I really like Basallo.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Do you think Chase Burns returns as a starter? Hold or drop Jacob Lopez? I guess those are 2 separate questions. First of all, I'm happy to drop Jacob Lopez.
Yeah.
I think he was riding a heater, and he had done that before. Like it's a little bit of that profile is the profile of like, kind of like we treat Ranger Suarez, where you're like, hey, you're going to have some elite months and you're going to have some months where you struggle. And it's like, it's forearm stuff, and that never makes me feel super confident. And so I'm okay moving on for something else. Chase Burns, he's throwing a bullpen tomorrow. So I guess we'll see. Right now, is there even a spot in the rotation for him. I'm like looking back at this right now because Lodolo is also
I think they'll make one
coming back.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. I think Lodolo's are due back this week specifically. But
Yeah, Lodolo is starting on Wednesday. So yes, I mean they could they could put Chase Burns back in the spot that Nick Martinez is currently occupying. Oh no, because Lodolo is going to take Nick Martinez's spot.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a 6-man rotation if they bring back Chase Burns and make him a starter. Yeah. I kind of feel like given that he's coming off an injury too, there might be like maybe a piggyback situation with like a Littell or something like that. So I don't know. It's very, I guess it's tricky to see. I'm not super optimistic about Chase Brown over the final, what will be like 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Chase Brown, that was a football Freudian
Chase Brown, yeah, sorry,
that was a big one right there.
Chase
Ohio,
Burns.
Cincinnati, same city, Cincinnati. But Burns, like Terry Francona told us,
they should just like go out to dinner together and see if people
Chase
are
Burns
like,
and Chase Brown. Nice, yeah. How you guys doing? But Francona told us that he was expecting Burns to be limited, and then he missed 2 weeks. So I don't know if the limiting will still continue after the missing 2 weeks, or now he'll just come back and be a 3-4 inning guy. Similar to the conversation we had at the top with the Red Sox, the Mets. At this time of year, these teams who are pushing for these playoff spots, you kind of have to align your best pitchers. However, they wind up figuring out who pitches, like that's up to the manager. But I think that Burns will be on the roster. But you make room for him to pitch. I don't know if you make room for enough room for him to pitch to be super valuable for us in fantasy leagues.
Yeah,
I hope so, but I don't know.
It's a tough excuse me, it's a tough spot to be in there. I would prefer to rely on something more reliable, more known.
Yeah.
Joe says Addison Barger is the one who's really cooled off lately. This is in response to the James Wood discussion, and very much true. In October, 20. Oh my God, October.
Yeah.
Well, he'll probably be playing baseball games in October, Addison Barger, but in August, 20 games, hitting 208, has 3 home runs, 8 runs scored, 9 RBIs. Interestingly enough, 16 strikeouts in 20 games is just a sub 21% strikeout rate. So it's not a crazy strikeout rate. We're seeing some pull rates and some fly ball rates the pull rate is down. It was the first half of the season. His pull rate was about 48% and fly ball rate was 37%. Fly ball rate is down to 34%. Pull rate's down to 40%. So when I see guys' pull rates drop as the year goes on, and then I also think of that this is the first year they're playing a full MLB season, my brain goes to fatigue. And I don't have any basis for that. I'd have to like really look at his swings and, maybe we'll pull up his bat speed month by month if we could like try to do that. But
get that quick.
Barger to me is somebody who might be dealing with just, again, first year as a full-time player at the big league level, and it's draining and it's tiring. And remember that like a lot of the minor league schedules have switched to basically be like you play 5-6 games in a row against the same team. And so you're limiting your travel and you're limiting all of that. Right. Yeah. And so even if you're like, oh, well, AAA, you're playing a lot of games. Like, yeah, but you're not all over the place. You're not changing time zones. You're not on the move all the time. And so it's tough. I would keep rolling Barger out there. But again, Barger is a lower level to Wood for me. Like, I don't want to cut Barger, but I would bench him while he's, cold for somebody who's hot. Like, honestly, like Jared Chiolo for the Pirates is on fire right now. He has third base eligibility. Like, if you wanted to throw him in your lineup and bench Barger, not cut, but bench, and just see if you could ride Triolo's hot bat for another week or two, like that's a kind of move I would make with Barger that I wouldn't make with Wood.
In a 12-team league with a pretty tight bench, I cut Barger for Brett Beatty yesterday and for the Fab run, which I
get it.
Yeah, and Barger just also the bat speed by month. No changes. Actually, even slightly up from August compared to July by 0.5 mile per hour. So I guess it probably is just a situation of your bat speed can go up while you're also experiencing fatigue. Like, what I mean? It's just, this is same thing with Wood. Because you guys are playing more consecutive games than they ever do when they get to the major leagues. It is definitely a grind.
Yeah. Lou popped in here and said the Wood reference, 10-team mixed head-to-head. The best free agent option is like Dalton Varsho. So yeah, you're
Good option though.
sure,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hold. Not holding the case. I'm not playing Varsho over James Wood.
No, I'm not either. But I think that would be a funny conversation right now because Dalton
Maybe
Varsho is doing
because
like the,
Varsho's selling out for full power and
like he's hitting all the home runs you wish James Wood was hitting.
not running. Remember Varsho was like a 2020 guy. Like
speed
doesn't
demon.
happen.
Now he's like 15 homers and like a 290 on base percentage.
Yeah. Dad says, with the recent news of Mason Wynn receiving an additional MRI today, could we see a cup of coffee for JJ Weatherholt in September? So two things, because I blurbed this morning. Mason Wynn has said he's playing through the injury, that he expects the MRI will show something. The MRI in July showed something, but he has no plans to shut it down. He expects to be out there tomorrow, is what he said. Now, he could expect that.
Yeah.
And the team could say, you're our starting shortstop. Like we're out of it. There's no point in you continuing to play through it. But that might not happen for another 2 weeks. We don't really know. They've been letting him play through this knee injury for a couple months now. Mm-hmm. I think that JJ Weatherholt seems likely to get an opportunity in September regardless. I just don't know when. And I find it interesting, like Thomas Sagace's playing every day at second base right now. And like that was kind of an opportunity for Weatherholt if they were going to allow that to happen. Third base, they've also played Weatherholt at third base in the minor leagues. So that's another possible avenue for him. Nolan Gorman is playing there every day now with Arenado out. It's like, could Weatherholt get more at bats at the expense of Nolan Gorman? I think you could make that switch at some point. So I don't think Weatherholt is specifically tied to Mason Wynn.
Yeah, I think that we talked about this over the course of the summer, and if you asked me a month ago, I would have said no chance that Weatherholt gets a spot. But now, just seeing how many prospects are being called up by every single team, I think it does make sense that he'll get some plate appearance this year. But again, it's hard to tell if he'll get that in like the fullest time starting capacity, given the fact that there's other guys just on this team we're playing every day.
Yeah. Jetta said Orioles just confirmed Bradish will start tomorrow. Yes, that was the expectation. Listen, treat all of these Tommy John return guys very cautiously.
Yeah.
I look at Christian Javier. First start off the IL looked great. Second start off the IL wasn't that good, but you could say, oh, he was dealing with an illness. That third start, the command was all over the place. That's gonna be what we deal with. So yeah, Bradish gets a tough first start against the Red Sox. He could deal. Javier looked great against the Red Sox his first start off. I'm totally fine with adding Bradish in deeper formats, but I think you need to view him as a streamer in like 12-team leagues because he's gonna have a lack of consistency that he's not going to be Kyle Bradish that we expect when he's fully healthy.
Yeah, just have to measure your expectations. Like this isn't last year preseason Kyle Bradish. Like, oh, this guy has the upside to be like a top 20 pitcher walking through the door. Like a lot's happened since then. He really only had like one good, really actually good rehab start. The velocity was fine, and we'd like to see that. But it's just I'm definitely not, unless I'm in absolutely dire straits, complete desperation. That's the only way I would start Kyle Bradish in his first start back.
Yeah. Interesting. Because Harry says, my only other pitchers, this was the question about Schlittler and Horton. Yeah. Are Yuri Perez, Nick Lodolo, and Bradish drop any for Wong? This is where like the Bradish for Tong thing are interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this isn't Kyle Bradish that we've seen before. Like, I'm not dropping Yuri Perez. No. I would consider dropping Lodolo because Lodolo's also banged up. And so it's like, what are you going to get from him? But he's been good.
Yeah.
But like, if I knew Jonah Tong was coming up Friday and Kyle Bradish was starting Tuesday, I'm not sure who I'd rather have because Jonah Tong is fully healthy right now and could potentially be maybe not a better pitcher immediately, but has the upside to be a better pitcher than Kyle Bradish.
Jonah Tong could, again, like he could strike out 9 or 10 guys that first start. Like he seems to have that inside. It feels like it doesn't even feel like that many pitchers. Maybe drop a hitter so you can actually hold all these guys. But from this list, Bradish is the closest to a drop. I think more so than Schlittler or Horton at all. And I don't know, like you might also be like, you might watch that first start and be like, I'm just gonna drop this guy anyway. You might miss Tongue. Like I don't know.
That's true.
I'm not very confident in Bradish right now. Like maybe I should be more so, but I'm just not. It's hard to be given what's going on with him and the injury.
I'm treating Kyle Bradish like DeGrom last year, where like I just hope we get 3 to 4 like healthy starts so that I could draft him next year, assuming a full season of health for Kyle Bradish. But I'm not expecting a lot for this year.
Yes.
This is a tough one from Ron because it really does at this point of the year depend on what your category needs are.
Yeah.
But in a vacuum,
objectivity.
How would you rank Sal Frelick, Dylan Cruz, Max Muncy, who's currently on the IL, Jordan Lawler, who's currently at AAA, Mark Vientos, and Mickey Moniak?
I think Lawler's last. I think that, I don't know. It's hard for me to continue to get excited about Jordan Lawler, honestly. Like, he's still in the minors. He still never really performed the majors. Doesn't seem like the team's in a great big rush to give him a shot. From this list, I think Cruz is my definite number one. I actually don't even think it's that close. I think Dylan Cruz just, there's so much talent. There's so much ability. He was being drafted ahead of Pete Crow Armstrong this season, like we've talked about a lot. And now he's come back and begun to hit. He's gotten big hits in big spots. He's playing with a lot of emotion. He seems to be very invigorated, ready to play well after missing most of the year and struggling through the first part of it. Frelick is definitely a safer version of that, but I also just, I don't know. I'd rather make an upside play this time of year. So I'd go Cruz, Frelick, Vientos, Moniak, Muncy, Lawler.
Moniak is the clear last one for me.
Okay.
He is, I know that it's like the Colorado thing, but he has fallen off and struggled. I blurbed Jordan Lawler today because he went 3 for 5 last night in AAA. He's 11 for 36 since coming back with this hamstring strain. He missed almost a month with the hamstring strain, which I think is probably why he remained in AAA immediately after the deadline, because he was like just kind of starting to come back. And so I think we see Jordan Lawler in September as the starting third baseman for the Diamondbacks. I think right now they're just waiting for the hamstring to be healthy. They'll call him up. Blaze Alexander had that fun 2 weeks, and he has done absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I honestly would put Lawler over Vientos personally, because I think if you're talking about who gets more at bats from September 1st on, my money would be on Jordan Lawler. Muncy is also.
I want to see it with him. I want to see it with
sure,
him.
I get it.
Yeah.
Muncy is starting to swing, so I understand. You know, he probably also by September 1st or soon thereafter will be fully healthy and back in that Dodgers lineup. So I get, some version of Cruz, Muncy, Frelick as the top 3, and the other 3 for me are like a tier below, and you can kind of mix and match them as you want.
Yeah.
Dylan Points League RP slot: Will Vest, Braxton Ashcraft, Ryan Nelson, or pick up JJ Romero off the wire over all 3.
I'm starting Braxton Ashcraft a few places that Seattle start. And
yeah, I liked. He looked. Everybody was excited about Bubba Chandler, but Ashcraft looked good, and also Ashcraft is also a good prospect.
Ashcraft was dominant. I blurbed that game. That was my recap game, and I was watching like these guys are both good. They almost combined through Maddox. It was like 101 pitches, 9-inning shutout from those 2 guys combined. It was really impressive, but he's good. Like, I'm confident in him. It's funny that they did with him the reliever to start their pipeline. It seems to have actually helped him acclimate to the major league game. Nelson also, like, Nelson does Nelson every single week. You have questions about Ryan Nelson. It's still just fastballs, pop-ups. You're worried about something bad that could happen. I just, in a points league, you get those relief pitch start guys. Like, those are the 2 I'm rolling with for sure.
I really like Braxton Ashcraft. I do. I think I want to lean in that direction. Ron says, do you think Andrew Painter, gets called up soon now that Zach Wheeler is done? I'm still going to go with no. 18 starts in AAA. He has a 5.11 ERA. He has a 148 whip, 23% strikeout rate, which is like kind of mediocre. 11.9% swinging strike rate in AAA. So you can't even say like, well, he's missing tons of bats, but there's some command issues. He just hasn't really looked good in AAA. He's coming off an arm surgery. Taijuan Walker's been fine. The Phillies are in a pennant race. Like, I just don't know that I can see the Phillies looking at what Andrew Painter is doing in the minors and saying, yeah, you should come up and be in our AAA rotation or our big league rotation.
I think we're also at the point where people are not respecting Taijuan Walker enough for how actually good he's been this season. Like, he hasn't given him more than 3 earned runs since he came to the rotation. He's a 3.4 ERA on the season. Like, I don't think that a major league team is in a great rush to replace that guy in the rotation who started and started out, is giving them really legitimate consistency.
They liked him so much last year that they were putting him in the rotation over a genuinely very good Spencer Turnbull. Like, Turnbull was crushing.
Yeah.
And they were like, actually, we're going to go back to Taijuan Walker.
It makes like $20 million a year. So that's a huge part of it. But right now, he actually is kind of good. Like, I think that Painter could get a call up because he has to be on the 40-man for September 1st, be playoff eligible. Like, that's a possibility here, but more so as like a fireman relief role. Like, kind of do for them what like Zach Eflin did in their playoff run a few years ago. Like, Andrew Painter came in because Ranger Suarez got hit in the 3rd inning. And now let's see if Andrew Painter gives us 20 pitches, maybe 30 pitches, maybe 40 pitches. Not fantasy relevant, but real life wise, I think he does get a call.
Yeah. Jenna said, how about some love for Bubba? It finally happened. It did kind of finally happen.
Sort of.
I mean, I tweeted that thing out. I was like, oh, shocking. This guy came up, didn't walk a batter, threw 29 of 40 pitches for strikes.
Yep.
Didn't seem to have any command issues.
Mixed the changeup in.
And I understand people are like, oh, it was the Rockies. Oh, it's AAA hitters. Like, command is command. If he didn't have command against AAA hitters, it would have carried over. I'm glad he's up. I expect him to get starts at some point this season, but it might be like 2 to end the year, maybe 3 to end the year. But again, like, if he's going to keep pitching 4 innings out of the bullpen, like, I threw him in some lineups where my starting options weren't particularly good. And I, in draft and hold formats where like all my starting pitchers are like dead or on the IL, I was like, fine, give me maybe 7 innings of Bubba Chandler in a full week. Like, it could still happen. Definitely. You know what I mean?
He also showed great poise in that appearance because he came in the game, people were freaking out. Like, his family was there, like the place was raucous. Yeah. Second major league pitch, he gave up a triple that hit the top of the wall from Orlando Arcia. And then he toughed up after that. He got 2 strikeouts. When he got the last strikeout at the end of the inning, I think it was Rither. I don't remember.
Fired out.
Screaming, a roar. And then he allowed 1 base runner the whole rest of that appearance, and it got wiped away in double play. Like, he was money in that game. Like, he is that good. So if the start does happen, you gotta ride.
That scream was months of pent up frustration.
Literally. And I'm happy he got to let it out. He deserved that.
Yeah.
Also, we've been having the Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos discussion. Mets lineup just came out. Brett Beatty's not in it against Christopher Sanchez. Mark Vientos is starting. Jeff McNeil's at second. Starting Marte's at DH.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tough lefty. I get it.
Tough lefty. Still some.
Joe says Cole Reagan's completed a bullpen. Should have rehab starts next week. Casey only 3 games out. So is Reagan's worth a stash? Here's my thought on this. If this was earlier on in the season, given how long Cole Reagan's has been out, you'd be looking at 3 to 4 rehab starts at a minimum.
Yeah.
Right now, if Cole Reagan's does a rehab start, it's going to happen at the end of this week. Right? So 3 rehab starts would put him back for the final 2 weeks of the season. So if Kansas City is going to call him up before the final 2 weeks of the season, you're not getting full Cole Reagan's. I don't think he's going to be fully back, ready to go. The pitch count isn't going to be where you want it. So it's a little bit of like that Bubba Chandler situation where, like, could Cole Reagan's go 3 or 4 innings, then another outing of 4 innings, and then be up to 5 or 6 innings? Sure, it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Do you want to stash him in a 12-team league for that? I don't know. I mean, maybe if I'm in a really good spot and I'm like cruising in first and I'm thinking maybe this guy just kind of pitches for me for the final 2 weeks and helps me, get over the hump. I could see it, but I'm not expecting a lot from Cole Reagan's in terms of him being healthy and ready to go until the very end of the year.
Yes. The other side of that is that the Royals are actually kind of back in the wild card picture. Like, they're over 500. They pulled themselves to 3 games back of the Mariners, 3.5 games back of the Yankees, 4 games back of the Red Sox. Like, they're in the mix with 30-ish games to play. And we know that as an organization, they're a little bit more aggressive with prospects, players with injuries, pitcher workloads. Probably how Reagan's got into this mess in the first place because of everything that happened last year. But they'd be willing to do something that we might see as irresponsible, more so than other franchises, I think.
They're also poised to, like, why not piggyback Reagan's with Michael Lorenzen?
Yeah.
Right? Like, Michael Lorenzen has been a reliever, is in the starting rotation, could easily move to the bullpen. What if you went 4 innings of Reagan's and then went to Lorenzen for 3, 4, 5 if he's going well?
Yeah.
But again, that gets us to, like, sure, you can be aggressive with Reagan's, but he's probably still going to be limited until the second half of the month.
Yes.
And so if I needed results now to climb the standings, I'm not going to stash. If I'm in a comfortable spot, I could then start to see the argument for it.
Yeah, timeline's just a little too murky.
Dad wants to know if you can endorse dropping Nick Castellanos.
Yes.
In an OBP league. He's been mostly underwhelming for the last month or so. I will just say for the last 30 games, that's since the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. He's hitting 212, 244, which is crucial because this is an on-base percentage league. So 244 on-base percentage. 339 slug, similar to Barger, 22.8% strikeout rate. So he's not striking out a ton. He has 4 home runs in 30 games. 21 runs scored in 30 games is good. Like that is genuinely providing value in a category. It just might be like the only category he's genuinely providing you a lot of value in. Yeah. And so I get it if you wanted, if there was something enticing on the wire.
He's just like the worst version of oatmeal ever right now. Like he's just kind of going out there every single day, getting his RBIs, and it's just like it seems like everyone's excited for that contract to finally be over. Like he's a negative player this year in terms of wins above replacement. Like it's just, but again, like he'll still just hit the ball around a little bit. Like you're still going to wind up at the end of the season like 70 runs scored, 70 RBIs, 20 homers. Like, but that is what you expected from him. So if suddenly that doesn't fit your fancy anymore, then yeah, go out and get a new guy. But he is doing exactly what we've expected the whole time. But it's just not that exciting in a shallow league.
Yeah. Charlie says panic meter on Zebby Matthews. I am waving the white flag on the 2025 season of Zebby Matthews. It didn't come together like I thought it would. I do think injuries played some part of it, but I also think it's a little bit of like what we learned from Gavin Williams, where some of these guys who make real changes to their pitch mix and take a step forward, it's not a consistent step forward. Zebby Matthews had a deep arsenal of pitches as a minor leaguer, but kind of like gained swing and miss stuff with the velocity increase with some of the pitch mix changes, and it just never clicked consistently this year. I will say I expect to fully be in 2026 because I think he's locked into a rotation spot for next year, and I really do like the foundation of what he has as a pitcher. Mm-hmm. It's just pretty clear that it's not coming together right now, and maybe he ends the season with some really strong starts, and I hope he does. But I held on to him in like one 15-team league where the waiver wire was just utterly barren. Like it was like, do I pick up Aaron Savali or do I pick up Zebby Matthews? And I was just like looking at their schedule and saying, well, I'm not starting either one this week. So if I need a pitcher on my bench, I'd rather have it be Zebby Matthews in case he looks really good this week. But I think in 10 and 12 team leagues, you can pretty confidently move on.
Yeah, I've still held on to him in the bench in a few 12s, just like kind of like you're saying. We're still just playing for upside this time of year. The thing that worried me a lot about Zebby recently is at the last start, he was down like a tick and a half across the board. When I see his velocity go down, I'm worried about he's still possibly fighting some of the injury stuff. And when that's happening, you see his command go. Like all those things are likely related. Also, what's up, Charlie? It's my guy. But it is just, it's sad to watch this happen because it did seem like it was going to be great like a month and a half ago. And it still could be, but bad starts against the White Sox and Tigers consecutively as the velocity falls, that makes it a difficult thing to keep relying on.
Yeah. Where's this Bailey Ober question? Yeah. Fantasy Sports dropped Seth Lugo and have Ober on the waiver wire. I dropped Lugo straight up for Yu Darvish in a 12-team league, and I don't care. Like,
yeah, might be that time.
Yu Darvish has just been better than Lugo right now. Yeah. But would you drop any of Bradish or Horton for Ober? So I think the only argument for dropping Bradish for Ober is that I think we've seen over the last 3 games that we are getting a version of Bailey Ober that's fine and not great, but fine. And so if you believe that Kyle Bradish could be too inconsistent, given coming off Tommy John surgery, that like there's an argument that in a deeper format, like a 15-team format, what Ober is giving you of like 5 to 6 innings of 2 runs, 5, 6, 7 strikeouts is just better to just say, this is what I'm getting, and I know I'm getting it, than running the risk of a Kyle Bradish start that's 2 innings, 5 walks, command all over the place, can't get out of the inning. In Bailey Ober's first start off the IL was not good, expected. In the last 3 starts, he has thrown 17 innings. He's allowed just 11 hits and 6 runs in 17 innings while striking out 15 and walking 2. So, like, that's pretty good.
It's fine.
It's not like, oh my God, I got to have it. But that few hits, 6 runs in 17 innings, striking out 15, walking 2, like that's pretty useful in a lot of formats.
Yeah, but it was just he's habitually disrespected. I think just because he's kind of weird looking, kind of pitches kind of weird, doesn't throw very hard. From this list, like I'd be pretty okay with him over Bradish, but probably I'm taking Horton over Ober at this point. Like Horton, you were kind of just seeing something else with the continued development of the curveball and the changeup, where it does seem more comfortable and able to actually get the lefties more consistently now, which is like the big hump he had to get over. That's also the benefit of calling up a guy like Horton early in the season compared to like a lot of these teams like the Mets are doing late in the season, where it's like learn everything you can on the fly. Where Horton got to like work through these things through May and June and July, and now he's turning a corner and pitching the best he has, which is great for the Cubs.
Yeah. Where is it? Dylan was just chiming in that he has 2 RP slots in that weekly head-to-head league. Cade Smith, Ashcraft, Ryan Nelson, Will Vest are the 4 options for 2 spots. So 4 options, 2 spots, weekly head-to-head points league. Who are the 2 that you are taking there?
Cade Smith tanked a week for me last week with the multiple blown saves. Destroyed me. Every single ratio. Couldn't make the saves back up. I still love Cade Smith, and the Guardians haven't pushed anyone more deeply into the closer role than him, but if you got good starts, like individual starts from the relief eligible starters, I almost always opt for that, even over like the relatively high level closer in a points league.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. Also, Cade Smith, like, I think we had determined, I was trying to look for like searching for the soreness, but I thought we had a report that he was dealing with like arm fatigue or like a dead arm. And then that's kind of been a little bit of when the struggles started, and that was pre Clase being suspended. So I don't know that this is all like, hey, he can't close. I think he's just not fully 100% now.
He's still the guy that he's still getting every save opportunity, which is the most important thing in a situation like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just a bad week. I would say I hear you on that situation. Going back to this situation, Conqueror of Balls asks, it's a blown save league, and he's considering basically going into his playoffs with just Yohan Duran and I guess getting rid of Cade Smith. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if it's I assume if you're talking about playoffs, you're talking about head to head. Going into a head to head league with just one closer is super risky.
Yeah, you gotta get saves. That Cade Smith league, I also have a blown save category. So sometimes you have to walk that tightrope. But even when you walk the tightrope, Cade Smith is still a guy that's over the line. Like, again, a bad week's a bad week, but I would still, you kind of just have to ride. If you want to win saves, you have to play your closers. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Where was the Beatty? Oh, Beatty question from Joe says Matt Shaw or Beatty as a middle infielder.
Shaw's been really good over the last month. Beatty has as well. Like, this probably gets a little bit of a category question because Shaw steals a few more bases. I think Beatty's just going to hit more home runs. I have bias. I like Beatty more. I watch more Beatty. I've watched the trials, tribulations. Something with Shaw's never really quite clicked for me, even though I do believe he's a good player. But can't really go wrong right now. Very similar, but I lean Beatty.
Okay. You heard it here. Beatty's been good of late, so I get it. And the Rafaela component of it, I wish I get why the Red Sox have been moving Rafaela around because the Christian Campbell didn't work out defensively at second base. Marcelo Mayer's out for the year with wrist surgery. It's like you could play Romy Gonzalez as your everyday second baseman, but I don't know that Romy is a everyday player, and then playing him as your everyday second baseman, he's a fine defensive second baseman. He's not that good, and then that means you are losing a lineup spot. And if you move Rafaela to second, then you can play Willie Abreu, and you can play Duran, and you can play Roman Anthony, and you can play Yoshida, who's coming around a little bit against righties. But Rafaela his offense has gone in the tank since he's had to move off of center field regularly. And so I have him behind those other two guys right now, and it's a bummer.
And it's also just the natural ebb and flow of a player like Rafaela, who's such a free swinger. Fair to expect the ups and downs.
Yeah. So you would still prefer Beatty over Rafaela, I assume, as well.
I think so at this point. I mean, Beatty's just been awesome. Yeah, basically a full season here. This guy playing really good baseball.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the questions.
One more here, guys. One more question. Where is it? Oh, Fantasy Sports says Victor Robles or Lawrence Butler head-to-head points format redraft. Victor Robles came off the waiver wire, the IL, and started 2 straight games. We should note they were both against lefties. So Dominic Canzone was always going to sit those games against lefties. I don't know that they're going to put Robles on the short side of a platoon, but we just haven't seen what the Mariners are going to do against right-handed pitchers with both Canzone and Robles up. Mm-hmm. Between those two in a points format, where are you going?
Points format, just anticipating the platoon advantage. I still go Butler. It's a better park to play in. Points format to stolen bases by Robles don't really help you that much. And we know there's a 10-game suspension coming at some point, probably this week or next. So I think that all kind of plays into the fact that it's not.
You can't throw a bat at somebody, James?
Allegedly not. I mean, that's it. That's what's going on. This country's got a hell of a handbasket. But you can't. I don't know. I'm not holding on to Victor Robles in the points league where he might be in the weak side of the platoon. That's just hard. It's hard to stomach.
Yeah. I hear you. That's going to do it for us today. Just so everybody knows, next Monday is obviously Labor Day. So we are going to be off next Monday. We hope all of you enjoy the long weekend, enjoy the holidays, spend some time with family, spend some time in the sun, watch some baseball, whatever you need to do. We'll be off next Monday, but we will then be back the last 3 Mondays of the season. So we make sure that kind of we'll be here with you for the whole thing, for the grind. James has his waiver wire article coming out tomorrow. Yes. Steele's article coming out Wednesday. I am now pivoting my starting pitcher article, given the last few weeks of the season. It'll no longer be kind of like pitch mix analysis. On Wednesday, my starting pitcher article will now be streaming starting pitchers for the remainder of the week. So ranking and analyzing streaming starting pitchers for every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of a given week. So if you do midweek pickups, I'm kind of saying like, hey, who should you add on Wednesday night for the weekend? Hopefully that will help with people that are in playoff formats and head-to-head formats, or just getting ahead of some streaming decisions in other leagues. So that's going to be what we're doing. Then Sunday, waiver wire column will continue to run through the remainder of the season, even with fantasy football going into full speed. I am Eric Samulski. He's James Schiano. You can find us both on Twitter. You can find us on Blue Sky. You'll find us back here in 2 weeks on the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball